Hi everyone, I'm Yolanda. In today's tutorial, I will be showing you how to make a simple and easy wedding cake. We will cover the cake with buttercream and then we will decorate it using silk flowers. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the cake pans that we will be using for our cake. The cake pans should be cleaned and shiny. The more shiny, the best the heat will penetrate through the pans, thereby baking the cake evenly. This cake will be a 3-tier cake. Each tier will be made out of 3 layers of cake because I want each tier to be 4 to 5 inches high. I will use 3 cake pan sizes, 10 by 2, 8 by 2, and 6 by 2. It is best to give 2 to 3 inches between sizes. Each pan should be covered with a cake pan release before pouring in the batter. You may use a store-bought cake pan release such as PAM, or you can make your own just like I did by combining 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of vegetable oil, and 1 cup of vegetable shortening. With a pastry brush, brush the cake pan release generously on the pan. Now that my batter is ready and so is my pan, I will pour in the cake batter. Never fill your cake pan more than half or 2/3 of the capacity of the pan. For demonstration purpose, I'm using a cake bags recipe. You may use your favorite recipe. I pulled out the cake from the oven 5 minutes ago and now I'm releasing it from the pan. I will let it cool completely before I do anything else. Since my cakes are completely cool, it is time to level them. With a serrated knife, mark the edge of the cake all around, and then start cutting through the cake using the mark as your guide. Push the cake against the knife and cut through. Remove the crown with the cake lifter and remove any crumbs from the surface. Now my cake is leveled. Let's talk about cake support. The cake should sit on a cake circle all the time. Don't stack any cake without using a cake circle underneath it first. If you don't have any cake circles available, cut a circle from a box the same size as the cake pan you are using and cover it with aluminum foil on top and parchment paper at the bottom to avoid the cake from coming into contact with the box cardboard. If you use a store-bought cake circle, chances are these cardboards are food grade, meaning your cake can come in contact with this cardboard and not get contaminated. There is also a cake base, or sometimes called a drum. This is a thicker and heavier cardboard that is used as a support base for your cake. Since this is a demo tutorial, I'm making my cake as simple as possible. Here, I'm using buttercream as my cake filling. You may use any other filling such as strawberries, raspberries, etc. Now it's time to cover my cake with a crumb coat. A crumb coat is a thin layer of buttercream to seal in all crumbs. Then I will refrigerate my cake for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes in the fridge, it's time to give my cake a final coat of buttercream. Start at the top and work your way down to the sides, being generous with the buttercream. You want to cover all gaps on the cake surface. And if you notice, the buttercream on top looks a little darker than the crumb coat, this is because I used two different types of buttercream. Since this tutorial is only to show how to make a simple wedding cake, I will not be showing you how to prepare buttercreams. However, you may look for all those tutorials right here on this channel on how to make buttercreams. Now, fill a tub with hot water and using a cake smoother and a spatula, smooth out the cake as smooth as possible. Then, after I finish smoothing out the cake surface, I will refrigerate it for another 15 minutes. After 15 minutes in the fridge, now it's time for a final smoothing. I will take a thick piece of paper towel and smooth out any creases or remove any lumps on the cake surface. People usually use the Viva towel for this technique, but the brand that I'm using is working fine with me. Unfortunately, I don't remember which brand this is, but the bottom line is that the paper towel needs to be thick and not thin to work for this technique. And remember that for this to work, your cake needs to be chilled first. Otherwise, the paper towel will stick to the buttercream. After I finish smoothing out the cake, I am going to move the cake to a bigger cake drum. I thought about it just now, but it's okay that I move it because I will be covering the edge with a ribbon. Let's put the supports on the cake. I'm using 4 supports on this cake. I need to make sure that I place the supports within the perimeter of the size of the cake that's going on top. You may use these plastic supports or you may use the wooden dowels. After inserting the supports, bring the support around as to mark the level of the cake on the support. That will be the mark where you will cut the support. Now we can place the next cake on top of this one. Being very careful, I will place this tier on top. But for this cake, I am not going to place it in the middle. I am going to offset this cake and the one on top of it as well. Now I'm going to repeat the process and stack another tier on top of this one, putting supports first. Since this cake is going to be small, I'm only going to place 3 supports. I'm going to place ribbons at the bottom of each tier. I already placed ribbons on the first and second tier. Now I'm going to place a ribbon on this tier. Fasten where the two ends meet with either buttercream or piping gel. Something very important that I almost forgot to mention. If you are not transporting this cake, you may just leave it with the supports that we put. But if you are transporting this cake, you will need a finer support in the middle of the cake. We will stick a wooden dowel through the middle, going through each layer and through each cardboard until we reach the drum at the bottom. This wooden dowel is about 1/4 inch thick. You may cut it 1/4 inch from the top of the top cake. Then you will sharpen one end. With the sharpened edge towards the cake, push through each tier of cake and through the cardboards until you reach the drum. You don't need to hammer the wooden dowel. Once you insert the wooden dowel in, take a little bit of the buttercream and smooth it over the hole. Since this tutorial is about making a simple cake, I will be using silk flowers. Some people think that silk flowers should not be on a wedding cake. The fact of the matter is that there are beautiful silk flowers that can be used to beautify a cake. I have arranged my flowers on this dummy cake just to see how they look from different angles and in different positions. Then I will transport them to the cake from the cake dummy to the real cake. Be sure that all the flowers are washed and clean. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a topper. I'm going to use 3 smaller flowers and leaves. I will arrange the leaves on the cake first. Then I will place the 3 flowers on top of the leaves. I'm going to continue arranging the flowers on the cake, and then I will come back with the final product. And here is the final product. Initially, I planned on adding a red flower, but sometimes less is more. Sometimes the less decoration we put on a cake, the more beautiful it looks. And so I decided to just go with the basic color, and I think it looks great. I also want to say that you may use fresh flowers on your cake as well. Just make sure that they are organic or free of any pesticides. Use a combination of colors and sizes as you please. Well, this has been all for today. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out the next 2 tutorials where I will be bringing another simple wedding cake covered with Italian meringue and another one covered with fondant. Don't miss it. Share and subscribe. Until next time, God bless you.